capacity for emergency care. As a government, that a decades-long jinx will soon be broken. For many years, more than 30 years or so, that project has gone a pipe dream. Everybody spoke about it, but no action. I want to report that finally, and we believe that in the coming year, 2026, that jinx will be broken. That place will be completed. If you get there now, it's a massive construction site. So, the project is crucial to ending the challenges associated with open and unregulated drug markets in Anambra State. Additionally, the construction of a new nursing school in the state has reached advanced stages, further strengthening our healthcare workforce pipeline. Building the capacity of our young people and empowering them remains a top priority of this administration. Through our 1U 2 Skills program, very innovative, new, we have continued to equip our youth with the skills required to survive and to thrive. We have successfully graduated and empowered 13,300 youth entrepreneurs who proudly now describe themselves as young millionaires. We are building for the future. We're teaching our youth to fish and not to give them fish every day. Solution Innovation District, SID, our digital transformative agenda is gaining traction. So far, some 95,735 young people have been trained in various digital skills, positioning Anambra as a talent hub in Nigeria. The iconic SID building, our own version of Silicon Valley, a place where the next generation of tech giants and innovators will be birthed, is now at finishing stages. Once completed, it will become the nerve center of digital skills development, innovation, and entrepreneurship in our state. As a government founded on the manifesto of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, with a progressive ideal to leave no one behind, we are very intentional about building human capacity and lifting people out of poverty. In addition to the foregoing, it is health and education as well as youth empowerment, our reinvention of the Dr. M.I. Okpara's oil palm revolution, plus other rare seedlings, coconut, ukwa, bitter cola, etc., are targeted at lifting over 200,000 households out of poverty and empowering people for life. We have sustained our zero tax policy for petty traders as well as for artisans, barrow pushers, hawkers, and other vulnerable groups. Furthermore, this administration continues to place the highest priority on the welfare of the Anambra, especially our workers and pensioners. We have cleared about 22 billion naira in arrears of gratuity owed to state and local government retirees, which this administration inherited at inception, and already paid 2 tranches to clear the arrears owed to dismissed workers of the defunct Water Corporation since over 17 years. And we will soon pay the last tranche to finish up paying them. For over 17 years, these workers were in anguish, retired, they were dismissed or not paid off their entitlements and so on. For 17 years or so, this accumulated. We're now clearing this. We do not take the prompt, we now take the prompt payment of monthly salaries, pensions, and gratuity for granted. For us, the welfare of our workers remains central to our social contract and to the inclusive development we are working tirelessly to deliver. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the list of outcomes is too long for this address. I'm sure you have also enumerated even some others that I haven't. We have said nothing about the robust reforms of how government, about robust reforms of how government works. Now having a transparent, tech-driven, service-oriented, and value-for-money cultured public service. For example, our land administration has been digitalized, and it now takes a few days rather than months or years to obtain or change the certificates of occupancy. We have said nothing about how we are battling and taming our environment, which is Anambra's #1 existential threat. The flood, erosion. We always said that Anambra is the erosion capital of Africa, gully erosion capital of Africa. The places around Nanka, Oko, and several communities. Nothing is done urgently. A place like Oko may not exist in decades to come. Will be completely wiped off. As we stated earlier, a more comprehensive report is coming next year. Let us then get back to the budget matter. Recall, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, that on November 19, 2024, I presented to this honorable House the 2025 budget, titled Changing Gears 2.0, which you diligently reviewed and passed into law. We proposed a modest budget of 606,991,849,118 naira for the 2025 fiscal year, compared to 410 billion for 2024, representing a 48% increase. Recurrent expenditure, you know the breakdown of all of those. The current expenditure stood at about increased by 45% year on year then, while capital expenditure increased 48.9 year on year then. And the budget deficit represented about 24% of the budget, compared to 30% in 2024. As you are aware, the macroeconomic environment in which we are implementing the 2025 budget has been both challenging and also reassuring. Inflation persisted in double digits, with significant pressures on the cost of living and the cost of governance. However, there is relative stability in the macroeconomic environment, with declining headline inflation as well as stable exchange rates. Our IGR, internally generated revenue, as of October, showed year-on-year improvement, though still below projections, while expected receipts from the Federation account fell below expectation as well. Despite the foregoing, budget performance stood at above 60% pro rata, and notably, even in an election year, we remain focused on execution mode. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, here today and before you is the 2026 budget proposal for Anambra State. From all that has been said or presented thus far, it is evident that there is no slowing down in our journey. Rather, we will accentuate the drive, as this is an agenda with a deadline. We remain focused on acceleration mode, driven by a steadfast commitment to execution. In 2026, we intend to focus even more intensely and intentionally on the full execution of our multifaceted agenda. Accordingly, we have appropriately titled the 2026 budget, quote, Changing Gears 3.0, Solution Continues. Yes, indeed, solution continues. And surely, in the second term of this administration, we will turn on to Gear 4 for speedy acceleration as we continue to lay solid foundations en route to Anambra's Dubai, Taiwan, Silicon Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, the proposed budget size for the 2026 fiscal year is 757 billion 884,487,705 naira. I repeat, 757,884,487,705 naira. When compared to the 2025 budget of 606,991,849,118 naira, this represents a 24.1% increase, reflecting our intensified focus on execution. Recurrent expenditure is projected at 161.6 billion, representing a 16.6% year-on-year growth, while capital expenditure stands at 595.3 billion, a 26.3% growth relative to 2025 appropriation. Notably, the capital budget accounts for 79% of the total budget size, with recurrent expenditure at 21%, a clear demonstration of our commitment to deliver tangible outcomes on the Anambra. The budget deficit is estimated at 225.7 billion, representing 29.8% of the total budget size. As previously, in all the budgets that we had presented, there had been implicit budget deficit. This deficit is expected to be financed, as we stated in other previous budgets, if necessary, through hybrid financing options, including possible privatization proceeds, bond in IGR collections, and concessionary borrowing, mostly for bankable projects. However, it is important to note that since the beginning of this administration, we have not borrowed to finance budget deficits. And depending on the pace of execution in 2026, we may still not need to borrow. Our fiscal discipline remains firm. Relative to 2025, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, all key sectors increased year on year. For example, from the budget estimates that you have before you, the administrative sector increases by 12.29%, the economic sector by 26.7%, social sector by 31.4%, education by 46.85%, health by 13%, and infrastructure investments by 27.7%. These increases reflect our priorities in strengthening human capital, boosting economic growth, expanding critical infrastructure, and securing the well-being in the Anambra. Our focus in 2026 is to deepen and consolidate the foundations laid in our first tenure, while also introducing new legacy projects that will define Anambra's future for decades to come, while delivering across the 5 pillars of the solution agenda. Our central priorities remain security, law and order, infrastructure and economic transformation, human capital and human capital development. Of the 5 pillars, the other 2 also very critical. All the 5 pillars are priority areas. But you can see from this budget, about 70%, at least 70% of this budget proposal is actually allocated to these 3 critical pillars, reflecting their importance to our long-term development trajectory. We are sustaining the momentum of our transport infrastructure revolution, especially in building and dualizing strategic roads, bridges and flyovers that connect the entire state. We will continue major investments in our mass transit systems, expanding buses, developing new jetties, acquiring boats, and facilitating safer, faster transformation along our waterways. We are exploring public-private partnerships, financing model for our rail master plan. Rail master plan. Alongside this, we are progressing with the development of 3 new cities. 3 new cities. The Oka 2.0, the Greater Niger City, and the Aerotropolis new industrial commercial city. The construction of the Anambra mixed-use industrial city will commence in earnest in 2026. This project signals the next phase of our industrial transformation. Urban planning and urban regeneration will be accelerated. Furthermore, we will intensify efforts to enhance the ease of doing business in Anambra State, ensuring that our state remains the preferred destination for both local and foreign investors. In the 2026, as signaled in this budget, our plan is to deepen ongoing investments in education, sustaining our free and qualitative education, and even a bursary scheme for those in higher institutions. We will continue constructing new schools while upgrading and equipping existing ones to meet modern standards. To begin, we will commence the construction of new public primary schools in 30 out of the 76 communities that have never had public primary school, setting a new benchmark for what an ideal school should look like in Anambra State. I need to emphasize this, that as we said since the creation of Adam and Eve, these 76 communities have never had public primary school. Never. But we are going to start breaking this by starting with the construction of 30 communities very soon. Alongside this, we will sustain the aggressive upgrade of infrastructure in our primary and secondary schools through multiple schemes, especially the ASUBED program, ensuring that learning environments across the state are conducive and equipped. In addition, we will be establishing 2 specialist tertiary institutions to strengthen our higher education ecosystem. We will continue to support mission schools, particularly the returned mission schools. Government teachers posted to these schools help to make them stronger and reduce their charges on pupils and students. To further strengthen collaboration, a committee will be set up to work closely with the missions to identify additional ways the government can support these return schools within our resource constraints. Our shared goal remains clear: to ensure that every child in Anambra State has access to qualitative and transformative education for the 21st century. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we will be deepening our ongoing interventions in the healthcare, and in addition, completing the investments in the entire healthcare ecosystem with the completion of our College of Nursing and the construction of our specialist teaching hospital with specialization in oncology. Alongside this, we will continue the renovation and the equipping of existing primary and secondary healthcare facilities across the state, among other interventions. Also, in 2026, we plan to scale up the 1U 2 Skills program to accommodate even more young people, equipping them with the skills and resources needed to thrive as entrepreneurs. Honorable members, just need to point out that in the just concluded phase of the 1U 2 Skills that had graduated 8,300, when that was, the advert went out before they were selected, 183,000 youths applied. But out of the 183,000, only 8,300 could be enrolled. In the coming year, I'm sure you'll probably have even more than that number applying, and we intend to enroll even more. There is hunger by our youths to get scalable skills, and to be empowered to take charge of their lives. We are equally intensifying our investment in digital skills development. This includes the completion of the iconic Solution Innovation District building and the development of the broader district in partnership with the private sector, further positioning Anambra as a growing hub for technology and innovation. Access to clean water is not a luxury. We are expanding our water schemes with a goal of general access to safe, reliable water for households and the industrial sector. We will continue our efforts to extend power access to underserved communities and affordable power to major business axes in the state. We have developed a regulatory framework based on the bill passed by this House and inaugurated the board of the new Anambra State Electricity Regulatory Commission. And the National Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, has ordered the transfer of regulatory oversight to them in compliance with the National Electricity Amendment Act 2023. This signposts that the state is fully ready for the private sector investment in this sector. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the needs of the poor and vulnerable individuals are also addressed explicitly in this budget. For example, besides the free education, free medical services to pregnant women and subsidized to the rural areas, and tax breaks for the poor, there will be tens of thousands of households who will receive 10 or more seedlings of coconut, palm, okwa, pawpaw, soursop, and other crops per household, as we have done in the past. We will also provide grants to micro businesses across the 326 wards in the state as part of our commitment to our party's mantra of being our brothers and sisters keeper. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, what lies before you today is not just a booklet of numbers. It is a blueprint of solution, a framework for disciplined growth and a strategic response to our economic realities. The 2026 budget size stands at approximately, in dollar terms, about $520 million US. Modest, not only in historical terms, but especially when adjusted for today's inflation and the sharply depreciated purchasing power of the naira. Even if we execute this budget at 100%, it will still represent merely a fraction of what was spent in some previous years, even more than a decade ago. This is far less than what was spent in some several years then. But in the Anambra, we have no excuses. We apply for this job, and we are determined to deliver on the Anambra. We ask for your mandate, and we must deliver despite all constraints. This administration remains fully committed to responsible fiscal management. As stated in 2025, we will only borrow under two strict conditions. The loan must be concessionary with low interest rates, and the borrowing must finance with clear measurable plans for future repayments. No borrowing for consumption, no borrowing for frivolities. Only borrowing to build assets, generate revenue, and strengthen the future. Honorable members, funding the budget remains one of our most persistent challenges. Under this administration, frugality is not a slogan, it is a culture, a discipline, and a way of life. Our mantra remains doing more with less. It is no accident that Anambra has been ranked #1 in fiscal transparency and more recently, the leading state in fiscal sustainability. We have cut the cost of governance to the bare bones, prioritizing value over volume. The unprecedented ratio of 21% recurrent to 79% capital expenditure speaks volumes. We are investing in tomorrow, not consuming today. Our weakest link, however, remains the internally generated revenue. For several years, our IDR performance has consistently fallen short of budgeted expectations and potential. In the coming weeks, we will be partnering to launch and address leakages, widening the tax net, supporting willing taxpayers, and enforcing compliance where necessary. In the Anambra, we must all join hands. The future we seek cannot be funded by wishful thinking. We will continue to deepen strategic partnership with the federal government, the international community, the private sector, our productive local governments and vibrant communities. We are proud of the many communities and stakeholders who, in the true Anambra spirit, are investing heavily in their communities, building roads, upgrading schools and hospitals, co-funding security, and complementing government efforts in unprecedented ways. Together, we're expanding the big tent of collective development. Demonstrate our commitment in our development to our development partners. We have set aside counterpart funding in this budget. This will unlock more opportunities, more grants, and more collaborative projects for our state. Finally, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, to conclude, let me once again express our profound appreciation to the members of the solution team, the distinguished members of the Assembly, the judiciary, our committed public and civil servants, our indefatigable teachers, and our gallant security agencies. I extend warm gratitude to our community leaders, traditional rulers, religious leaders and bodies. Progress. We do not and will never take them for granted. As we implement the 2026 budget, your continued partnership will be indispensable. I assure you that every kobo, every naira entrusted to us will be deployed prudently, transparently, and with maximum value for our people. The Anambra have placed their trust in us, and together with our solution team and with all of you, working together as partners in progress, we will continue to work day and night to lay solid foundations for the prosperous, livable, and smart homeland that we envision. I want to say and repeat and join millions that now say that Anambra is indeed on the rise. May God bless Anambra State. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.